Hello everyone, welcome to this series of lessons on Radio 1 revision. It's been a while since you studied Radio 1 back in the glorious halcyon days of 2019, so it's important that we get back to understanding the product, the media product, and also to update you on a few things that have happened since 2019, which could influence an answer should you be given this in your exam. So what you're going to need out in front of you is your ability to make lots of notes, whether that's on paper or whether it's on a new blog post. And you are going to go and find now, which might be a bit of a challenge, your Radio 1 notes, wherever they are. So the booklet and the notes that you made back in 2019. If you haven't got them, if you left them at school or you've lost them or whatever, now's a good opportunity to start again. So go and find those notes. If you know where they are, pause the video, come back, ready to take a bunch of fantastic notes. Since the last time you looked at Radio 1, three major things have happened with the station. The first one is that this above-the-line advert campaign was released across all BBC platforms, or BBC channels I should say, so you're probably familiar with it. So this is the above-the-line campaign that went on TV channels for the Radio 1 breakfast show. And it was essentially, well, you can hear. I think the strapline on this is really important. Breakfast show with Greg James and you, so making sure that the audience are at the heart of the production. So that's the first thing, is this series of above-the-line adverts, and there wasn't just that one, there's a number of them. Please go ahead, pause the video, and do a quick search on the other adverts that were there. Essentially, it was viewers calling in saying what adverts they should, Greg James should make to promote the show, and he went out and made them in a typically self-depreciating and humorous way. So the second important thing that has come out is Rajar, which is the industry that equates how many people listen to the radio station, has released the figures for 2020, or the first quarter of 2020 anyway. And generally speaking, it's not great news for the radio industry. The start of 2020, which is quarter one, the first 3 months, 9 of the 17 stations witnessed a decline in reach since the end of Christmas. So it's a big decline really for radio listeners in terms of listenership and people tuning in. The good news is, so that's Radio 2, Zoe Ball, still the most popular figures, so 8.1 million listeners, but it was slightly down. Chris Evans also down. Radio 4 is second. Third is Greg James. This is the important thing that needs to go into your notes. Greg James' breakfast show on BBC Radio 1 was the only station, the top 7, to experience growth over the quarter, up 1.3% to 4.9 million. However, the show's reach dropped 3.4% over the year. So there's two headlines here. The increase in the listenership over the quarter, 1.3, but a slight drop over the year, minus 3.4. So that needs to go into your notes. I think what's important also to understand in terms of the market is that the 3 most popular commercial breakfast stations also went down as well. So the other thing to mention is the official Twitter account for the BBC Radio 1 breakfast show reached 3 million followers recently. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, which is quite important, is this, which was the Great British Sing-Along. So during lockdown, every Thursday at 9 a.m, the 5 most popular BBC music stations, Radio 1, Radio 1 Extra, Radio 2, Radio 6, and the Asian Network, and they essentially broadcast at the same time a song dedicated to key workers. So a couple of weeks ago it was dedicated to nurses. The week just gone it was dedicated to refuse collectors and bin men. So as all of the popular music stations for the BBC coming together, and why can they do that? Because of that wonderful word, vertical integration. That's why the BBC are able to compile all of their assets in order to reach a huge digital and analog market. So that needs to go into your notes, please. All that information, the above the line advert, the Rajar data suggests that the Radio 1 Breakfast Show is the only one to increase over the most recent quarter, and the Great British Sing-Along, as well as the information about the Twitter site. So now that you've got all that new information, it's time to look at a question. I have planned the answer to this question, and you are going to write down the answer like you have done with previous questions. So the rest of this lesson, you're going to be taking notes on how to answer this question, put it in a new blog post or in your notes themselves, write them down. Here we go. Here's the question. So here's the question. Explain how popular music radio programs target, reach and maintain a variety of audiences. Refer to the BBC Radio 1 Breakfast Show to support your answer. So in usual circumstances, I would suggest that you rewrite this question, but I think it's relatively self-explanatory. It's not a big question. It's a 15-mark question. So we just need to look at the keywords here. Popular music, target, reach and maintain variety of audiences. So we're thinking about how Radio 1 markets itself. Well, we've just had some information about that TV advert that's just come out. That's good. We can talk about that. So let's think about how we're going to plan this answer then. Before we do, just remind ourselves on what's being tested here. It's all knowledge and understanding. It's all stuff that you've learned within the question, within your lessons. So there's no sort of on-the-spot analysis here. It's all about what you have learned, what you can bring into your exam, and the awareness of the contexts on the product. So here's the plan. You're obviously going to start off macro, talk about the radio industry as a whole. Then you're going to actually answer the question in the second paragraph. So who are the audience for BBC Radio 1? Sorry about the typo here. So maintaining of audiences. How do Radio 1 maintain their audience? And specifically, we're going to start off with thinking about what's in the Radio 1 Breakfast Show, which enables the audience to be maintained. You're also going to talk about the economic and cultural context. So what is the structure of the financial structure behind the BBC? You know, it's a public service broadcaster, of course, but why does that differ to commercial radio stations? Then you're going to conclude. So that's your 15 marks there. You're going to have about 25 minutes to write it. Not a huge amount of time. So you've got to get in, get out, try and get as much information there as possible and move on. Let's just jump straight in. We're going to start with the macro information. The UK radio industry is populated by both private and public radio stations. The private sector is dominated by Global, who own brands like Capital FM and Absolute Radio, while the public sector is controlled by the BBC with its 11 national radio brands. The BBC is a public service broadcaster, publicly owned and funded through the TV licence. As a result, their channels must meet Ofcom's remit, such as nurturing UK talent, addressing social issues, and educating their audiences. This can be summarised by the Reithian values of inform, educate, and entertain. These values are important as the BBC is not profit-driven and therefore must maintain audiences without using traditional commercial methods. So I've just started off here by talking broadly about the radio industry, how it's both public and private sector. The BBC dominate the public sector. I've put in that they are hamstrung somewhat by Ofcom, that the Reithian values are important to them because they are not commercially or profit driven, and specifically, you know, you don't tune into BBC Radio 2 and get a competition offering £20,000 of cash. That's not the way the BBC work, because they are not a commercial station, so they don't do those sorts of things. They operate on a different plane, and that plane is inform, educate and entertain, known as the Reithian values after Lord Reith, the first Director General of the BBC, who implemented these ideas. So that's my macro big introduction. Pause the video here, go ahead and do something similar in your own words. Is about the audience, so then the next paragraph, the first big paragraph, needs to be about who the audience are. Who are the audience that tune in or who are being attracted to the radio station? So Radio 1's target demographic is 15 to 29-year-olds, a challenging target given they make up only 29% of the total radio listening audience. This is directly affected by the Generation Z audience being more likely to engage with personally curated playlists through sites like Apple and Spotify. One way Radio 1 has tried to combat this is by introducing the BBC Sounds app, first launched in 2018, whereby audiences can listen to Radio 1 on their phones and listen to the best bits of The Breakfast Show with Greg James from previous days, as well as other BBC content. This is complemented by an above-the-line TV campaign, which we've just looked at there before, in which James reinforces the importance of the audience to the success of the radio show. You might want to pop the slogan in there, the BBC Radio 1 Breakfast Show with Greg James and you. This campaign was shown across the BBC TV stations in 2019-20 through a series of cross-promotions achievable through the vertically integrated nature of the BBC. So I've explained that the BBC is vertically integrated, and that's why they were able to cross-promote one of their products. Okay, pause the video here, go ahead and write your paragraph 1, who are the audience and who makes up that core demographic. How does the show maintain audiences by the content of the radio show itself, the breakfast show itself? Let's have a look. The Radio 1 Breakfast Show has a large presence on social media with visual content each day on their integrated YouTube, Facebook and Twitter accounts. I haven't mentioned Instagram, but obviously that's on there as well. The latter having 3 million followers, that's the Twitter account. After taking over the show in 2018, James increased listenership by 500,000, and the most recent Rajar statistics suggest the Radio 1 Breakfast Show is the only leading breakfast show to increase audiences in Q1 2020. That's information you just had earlier on. Greg James exploits the concept of fandom, that's a reference to Neil Jenkins, by creating highly shareable content, including segments like What's My Age Again and celebrity interviews with Sam Fender, Alan Shearer and Kevin Hart. Now that has just come from my Radio 1 audit. You can put in any information you have there from your own audit from the episode that you looked at last year. He also has a 10-minute takeover in which the listeners choose the songs they want to play, thus putting the audience in the producer's seat, mimicking the role of streaming sites. So I'm trying to suggest there that instead of going towards Spotify or Apple Music, you can actually just tune in and request your own songs. Obviously, in reality, it's not the same, but they're trying to mimic the USP of Spotify and Apple Music by having a section where you can choose your own songs and play it on the national radio. So this is about the content of the show. How do they maintain audiences by what they do in the show? Have a look at your audit, put in your information there, pause the video, write your paragraph. So this section is about economic and cultural context. How does the radio station maintain their audience in a competitive market? So the show does not depend on commercial revenue and has resisted calls for it to be privatized, as it does not fall into line with the free market of the rest of the industry adheres to, i.e. it doesn't fall into the free market economy, which is a capitalist economy. It's much maligned for being a pop music station, which is seen to be culturally less important than the content of its sister stations Radio 4 and Radio 3. Critics say music heard on Radio 1 can be heard on other stations. However, recent research has suggested that only 10% of Radio 1's content can be heard on its competitor stations from the likes of Global. And therefore, here's the answer to the question, it maintains its audience by providing new and exciting content. Pause the video there and explain what it is about the content of Radio 1 which allows it to maintain its audience. The conclusion is just a summary of the previous paragraphs, a very succinct summary, line by line. Pause the video here to have a look at what this conclusion looks like. Your question to write for next lesson, so this is next lesson's work, is this: how has changing patterns of audience consumption affected radio? You'll be able to use a lot of the content from the question that you wrote last lesson in this answer. It's not a difficult question. Take your time, plan it, do it to the best of your ability, and then send it in to your teacher. Any issues, any questions, get in touch. Good luck.